International Organization for Anomalous Figures presents a special informational material. How to behave in the... There's two types of anomalous incidents. Mental events. Close encounters. Mental events are usually the impact of anomalies on the victim's psyche, causing hallucinations and prompting them to...
Hello boys and welcome back. In today's episode, I got the opportunity to interview TexMoon, the creator of The White Door Opened, an ARG series that I've been investigating for the past few months now. I was lucky enough to sit down with him for a couple of hours to talk about his inspirations and the many secrets he's hidden throughout the story. Let's jump into it. A lot of the events in White Door Opened take place in Poland, and a lot of the ciphers are often transcribed in Polish. So it was not surprising to find out that TexMoon himself actually lives in Poland, and English is in fact his second language. So I'm very grateful that he was able to step out of his comfort zone and give us the time of day. Some of the things that TexMoon told us is truly astonishing, like the music you're currently listening to is an original composition by TexMoon himself. And the further we go along in this interview, the more we found out how original everything was, from the sound and set design to the ideas themselves.
You asked, is this all composed by me? It is. Where did I learn to compose? In Poland we have something that is called ognisko muzyczne. In English it means musical fireplace. It's some kind of a school, where you can learn all that musical stuff. I was going there for like 1.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had teacher, a private lessons.
Private lessons, yeah, okay.
And it lasts for 1 year and went for it for like myself. I gave up on private lessons and continued as a self-taught student. And after those 2.5 years, a lot of instruments came along, and today I can play more than 16 musical instruments.
It's very impressive.
Wow. Currently I have a problem with composing due to computer problems, but everything goes practically the same on my phone. Okay, so I used some of the photos and videos from free sources, from YouTube, and some meme snippets also appeared. But most of the material, to mostly animations and recordings made by me in the company of friends and acquaintances whom I told about my work, and they became interested in it. They decided to help me develop it a little bit, which was really cool to better recreate the world from analog horror.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's always something I've been interested by analog horror is like where do they get the footage from? Because I think like obviously like security cam footage, I'm assuming that's usually like stock footage, stuff you find online.
It's also super cool to hear that it became almost a group project there. You had support from people that you know. And yeah, I assumed that the animations were all you, because those are super unique looking.
Yeah.
And I did notice one clip in there. It, you know the, Colin, the microwave that shoots all the blue beams? That video?
Yes, that was from the meme.
Yeah, I recognized it. I was like, there's no way he did that.
Yeah, that awesome. Was the Pyro video, right?
But I thought analog horror is a horror just for the simplest way, but they aren't just made to simply scare the viewer, and you can also bring something to cheer up, to bring some action in another way.
I totally agree. I love that a lot. The kind of main focus is around this, obviously the white door, but also this blind sphere, and the moon died, and this kind of cosmic eldritch horror. Was any of this inspired from H.P. Lovecraft's work, or are you drawing upon like your own fears?
I know H.P. Lovecraft's work, and it was a big part of inspiration there.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because I've been reading his work very recently. I just bought a collection of his work, so when you started,
Same.
yeah,
Same. I have all the shelf with filled up with Lovecraft's works. I mean, it's just the most simple horror that exists there, and there is just something with this. It's just like you have written here, cosmic eldritch horror. It all explains itself. Most of the inspiration basically came from my dreams, nightmares that I analyzed and rehearsed after some time. Uh, it was like a hard way, but it went out cool.
you weren't afraid to add a fair amount of scares throughout your videos. In your opinion, what justifies kind of adding more of a jump scare, and what makes one unearned or like cheap to do?
I think that if jumpscare has any important role in the plot, it can be used in a very intriguing way, encouraging the viewer to continue watching without trying to create fear by force. With a decent jumpscare comes a message, like a valuable information. I think it's just making jumpscare. The point is not trying to make jumpscare. I don't want to scare people when the situation doesn't call for it,
Yeah.
Okay, you asked how long does it take for you to produce a video, starting from an original idea all the way to posting it. How long does it take? Usually it takes about 1 to 2 days if I have an idea, but there were times when I needed much time to produce a episode, like the first ones of fully named White Door Opened episodes. They took approximately 1 week.
So like 2 days, that's a pretty quick turnaround
It
for like
is.
that level of quality.
Shows up. It's like you suddenly get idea
Yeah.
and you think that may be good. You turn it's even if it's good, like bright, happy idea, you turn it into trash. You massacre it. You tear it apart, and you get like a big fleshy nightmare. You try to make it into movie.
That's very similar to how, if you're familiar with like the video games Dark Souls, that's how they kind of created their lore. Is they took an original idea with this kingdom and then completely destroyed it into what you actually play in the game. So I really like that. That's super cool.
Wow, I didn't know because I haven't played Dark Souls, but it sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's got some of the most like interesting, and it tells its story not through like cutscenes. It literally tells its story indirectly, similar to analog horror in a way. So the fact that you've came to the same
Like in the way in Poland we say wychodzi to w praniu. So it comes with, as far as you go, you get more information near.
So actually, sound design. How do you do sound design? So like the sound effects, the dialogue, that kind of stuff.
So there was question about music. I make music myself. Usually, if it comes to sound effects, near my house I got plenty stuff to recreate some sound effects.
Okay.
Like the simplest, like breaking glass or smashing into metal. Footsteps, or when you have a microphone and some stuff, and a program on your phone.
Yeah.
Among all of this, I have been making all of the analog horror content on my phone.
That's
crazy.
That is actually really crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild, man.
It's hard to believe almost. There's one sound effect, like when you have the planet or the moon like distort, and it's like a screeching sound effect. It's like
Oh
super
yeah, those
unique.
effects. Some of the screaming effects were did by me or my sister, but there are some effects that I found on the internet, like the real hell screams.
Oh, okay.
In Russia, there were some
Interesting.
films of it. Like, it's the same. You just found the right audio on the internet, and you think to distort it.
Yeah.
It will be just perfect.
After learning a bit more about his inspirations and how he's been able to create so many videos, I wanted to learn a bit more about the story itself, about some of the secrets that I wasn't really able to piece together. And stay tuned to the end of the video, because he helps us decipher one of his biggest puzzles that has to do with the blind sphere. If you want to keep this a mystery, and please just don't feel like you have to tell us, but I want to learn more about this Jeremy character. This is one piece of the puzzle that's completely going over my head.
Jeremy, first of all, Jeremy is not human. He's a living being who was crushed by the blind sphere, and in fact, the only being who has managed to defy it, at least up to a certain point. Jeremy is basically a slightly different view of humanity, as something akin to life that has not been brazenly and brutally copied and deformed. Because he knows what is about to happen. I don't wanna spoiler you, it's gonna be one thing
Okay.
that viewers may not like about Jeremy in future episodes.
Okay. I can't wait. That's gonna be good.
It's not gonna be like they're gonna get mad at him.
The sphere thing, is that Adopt Godot?
Yeah.
Is that who that is? Where
Adopt
did you
Godot.
where did you come up with that name? Where you're just like, haha, keyboard.
Like, there's actually I just said perfectly the name of the blind sphere. Idobgdot, or rather, Idobgdot.
Okay.
So yeah, there is a way to pronounce his name.
I completely destroyed his name in my videos.
There's actually a part of legal history behind this name, because, like I said before, mainly inspiration came from H.P. Lovecraft's work, and there is that slightly little detail. If I don't know if you watched Adventure Time.
Oh boy.
You know, when there were those monsters, and they had some bizarre names, that also came into inspiration.
What is Adopt Godot's favorite color?
Yeah. Does he prefer shrimp
the color
alfredo or fettuccine?
No, exactly. I don't know. I haven't think about that, but
I ask the hard questions.
yeah. But I think it's like purple, or rather, no, wait. What about the white door open? White. Gosh.
That
It's
yeah. That would be
it's
the
funny.
that would be
Yeah,
the fair
that's
answer.
I haven't
probably
watched
why.
as much. I haven't watched most of the videos just because they were scary and I don't want to. But I remember seeing like in one of some the PSA video like don't open the white door, and just my door is white.
Yeah, you just turn around.
Yeah, I literally just like.
Okay, so my next question is
First
about
one,
the
what?
state organization of anomalous figures. I assume that they might actually be good guys, like they actually are trying to contain these anomalies.
And you are on the right track.
Gotcha, because Benjamin worked for the SOAF, correct?
Benjamin, he was like he first worked for the Lieutenant,
Oh yeah, okay.
then he met Mark, Kyle, and Liam Patterson, and those guys went for something that is explained in the videos. they tried to like defy the Lieutenant,
Yeah.
and Benjamin was actually the one who worked with SOAF and Lieutenant, and that's got him killed.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good question. On that hidden page that has the Morse code repeating, is the image on that video copy, man?
Yeah, that shit fucking scared me because I was just like listening to it. And I'm like, oh, let me skip ahead. I'm like,
I would say just a part of its like face.
Mm-hmm. This will be my final question. What, at the end of the day, when you're done posting videos and people have watched your whole series, what is the one thing that they should come away from the series with? What should they think about after they're done watching it?
I think I would like people to remember this series as something that was not meant to be subtle, as a story about how our actions don't really depend on ourselves, how history has repeatedly shown how people think, how certain patterns are often repeated, and how one small change can affect it all. It's basically a bit of an explanation of the butterfly effect combined with the idea that, however, we can think of the world as a human learned world, something we know and won't change. I want people to remember that it all changes and that life is not just life, it is a whole sequence, a recurrent yet diverse cycle that we cannot escape, but we learn to live on. Almost a week ago was April Fool's, and with my friend we had a like a crazy idea made up half year ago, like 6 months ago, and it was about the Nephilim, and it was like we put it an episode with ants. The website.
Nephilim is a fun word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nephilim is a biblical word, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. The sons of fallen angels who had sex with human.
Yeah, and some of that whack ass Old Testament shit.
Yeah, it's some of that crazy Old Testament lore.
Like in Poland, like there were some rumors that if kids go bad and they do so not behaving right, the Nephilim comes at night and fucks them up to death.
Oh my God.
Okay, so with these fairy tales, so like, just kind of, like, what the fuck is wrong with continental Europe? It's like east to west. Like all the fairy tales are just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like I've heard a bunch of the German ones that are super messed up, and that's just as crazy.
I remember the Krampus.
Would you say that when it comes to kind of taking religious aspects and putting it into your story, does it come more from a fascination with like religious mythology, or more from like an actual personal connection with Christianity?
Oh, it's a bit complicated. I was born in a religious family. My parents are currently Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm an atheist right now, but it's kind of they were like, oh man, we have been reading for so much time the Bible, we have analyzed it, and we learned from it for a long time, and it is really a good, or if not the best, source of wisdom actually on earth.
I agree with you there.
Like the big part of history, but of religious aspect, like the entities that appear in the Bible and how it affected humans.
I always think it's interesting using, especially like religious terms in like other media.
Yeah.
Because actually something interesting that I literally found out this morning is that the term juggernaut has religious origins. It's the Anglicized version of Jagannath, which is a Hindu god. And it's funny, I was like, Jagannath, that seems familiar. It's because a Jagannath point is something in Star Wars that has to do with like the Trandoshans.
No shit.
You know, it's like when I put the Nephilim name, I was thinking that people got interested in it and searched Nephilim on Google and will find the etymology of that word
Yeah.
and will connect some dots and find some part of the lore
Yeah.
from it.
So at this part in the interview, I had run out of questions and I was preparing to wrap up the recording, but TextMoon decided to throw in a very interesting piece of information that had me and Colin spiraling for a couple of hours.
I just remembered something. Remember the second channel, the Lieutenant TV? And the first channel, the name IW. On the second channel, the name IW, it is encoded and ciphered, and it will refer to biblical thing.
Okay.
So you'll know why the God's not involved in the White Door Opens lore. That will be the bigger part of the ARG.
So what TextMoon basically told us is that Idopgadot, the name of the blind sphere, and the main antagonist of this entire story, is an anagram itself. Not just an anagram, but an entirely encoded name that, when translated and deciphered, is the name of some form of biblical presence. And he gave us the two pieces of media that were needed to deciphering this. First off, the video named Idopgadot in the description only has two words, up, down. And the second part of the cipher is on the second channel that he runs that gives you access to the main website of the ARG, with the numbers 10, 1, 3, 11, 9, 4, 20, and 19. So, huge shout out to Cypher for helping us. The creator of GM Pile, famously known for making an unbeatable Garry's Mod cipher, was able to help us decipher this by taking the alphanumeric positions of each letters and then add 10, 1, 3 to it, etc., and truncate excess, you get the word seraphim. And a few short facts about seraphim are they are referred to as the burning ones or nobles and are some of the highest ranking celestial beings in the angelic culture in heaven and are the closest to the throne of God. With the mention of Nephilim in this series running amok on the earth, the idea of seraphim is not very far-fetched, and the idea of the blind sphere being this kind of eldritch interpretation of angels is super compelling and really fun to look into. Thank you so much for joining me on this series, and thank you TextMoon for giving us some time to interview you. Have a good day, y'all.